When you were growing up, someone told you the formula. Study hard, get good grades, find a stable job, work your way up, and eventually you will be rich. It sounds reasonable. It sounds responsible. Millions of people have followed this advice their entire lives, and most of them are not rich. So either the people giving this advice were wrong, or there is something fundamentally broken about the formula itself. The biggest lie about getting rich is not that hard work does not matter. Hard work matters. The lie is that trading your time for money is a path to wealth. It is a path to a comfortable life if you are lucky, but it is almost never a path to actual financial freedom. Today I am going to break down exactly why the traditional get-rich formula fails most people, what wealthy people actually do differently, and the specific mindset shift that changes everything. Stay until the end because the secret I'm going to share is something most people spend their entire lives never figuring out. Here is the problem with earning money from a job. It is the least efficient form of income that exists. First, it is capped. You can only work so many hours. There are only 24 hours in a day, and your employer is only going to pay for 8 of them. Second, it is heavily taxed. Earned income from a salary is taxed at the highest rates of any income type. In the United States, a high earner can lose 37% of every additional dollar to federal taxes alone. Third, it stops the moment you stop. Get sick, take a vacation, retire, the income disappears. Now compare that to how wealthy people actually make their money. Warren Buffett, worth over $100 billion, does not get rich from a salary. He gets rich from owning assets that generate returns while he sleeps. His income comes from dividends, capital gains, and business ownership. In the United States, long-term capital gains are taxed at a maximum of 20%. Compare that to 37% on earned income. The tax code itself is built to reward asset ownership over work. This is not a conspiracy. It is written into the law. Think about the 100 wealthiest people in the world. How many of them got there by being really good employees? Almost none. They got there by owning equity in businesses, real estate, intellectual property, or financial assets. The path to extreme wealth runs almost entirely through ownership, not employment. Now you might be thinking that starting a business or owning assets requires money you do not have. And that is partially true. But here is what most people miss. You do not need to be a billionaire to use this system. The same principles work at any income level. The question is not whether you can afford to invest. The question is whether you understand why you must. Here is the math that changes everything. An employee who earns $70,000 a year and saves 10% is putting away $7,000 annually. At that rate, growing at 10% per year, they would have about $1.2 million after 30 years. That sounds decent. But a person who earns $50,000, saves 20%, and invests in productive assets that return 12% ends up with the same or more. The difference is not the income, it is the system. The school system teaches you to be an excellent employee. It teaches you to show up on time, follow instructions, pass tests, and earn credentials. These are all valuable skills for getting a job. They are almost useless for building wealth. Nobody teaches you how compound interest works in practice. Nobody explains that the tax system penalizes earned income and rewards capital. Nobody shows you the difference between an asset that generates cash flow and a liability that costs you money every month. Most people spend the first 20 years of their working lives buying liabilities and calling them assets. They buy a car on credit, a television on financing, and a lifestyle that requires every paycheck to maintain. By the time they reach 40, they have a high income and zero net worth. They are trapped. The income feels like wealth, but it is a treadmill, and the moment they step off, everything stops. 3 mistakes that keep people on the wrong side of this equation. 1. Lifestyle inflation. Every time income goes up, spending goes up to match it. The gap between income and expenses, which is the only thing that can be invested, stays the same or shrinks. 2. Avoiding investing because it feels risky. Keeping money in a savings account feels safe. But as we covered in the last video, inflation makes cash the riskiest long-term choice of all. 3. Waiting to have enough money before starting. The people who get rich are not the ones who waited until they had enough. They are the ones who started with whatever they had. So what is the actual path? It starts with one simple concept. Pay yourself first. Before rent, before groceries, before entertainment, a fixed percentage of every paycheck goes directly into investments. Not into a savings account, into assets, index funds, real estate investment trusts, fractional ownership of businesses. The specific vehicle matters less than the habit. The habit of prioritizing asset accumulation over consumption is the single behavior that separates people who build wealth from people who do not. The goal is not to be rich on paper someday. The goal is to reach a point where your assets generate enough income to cover your expenses. That is the actual definition of financial freedom. It has nothing to do with your salary. It has everything to do with your asset base. A person earning $40,000 a year who owns $500,000 in assets generating 8% returns is generating $40,000 a year passively. Their income is replaced. They are financially free. A person earning $200,000 a year who owns no assets and has debt is not free at all. Now, here is the secret I promised you. The biggest lie about getting rich is not about money at all. It is about identity. Most people think of themselves as earners. Their identity is tied to their job title, their salary, their employer. Wealthy people think of themselves as owners. The moment you shift from thinking like an earner to thinking like an owner, every financial decision changes. You stop asking, how can I earn more, and start asking, how can I own more? You stop spending money and start deploying capital. You stop trading time for money and start building systems that generate money without your time. That identity shift is free. It costs nothing. And it is the most valuable thing I can give you. Subscribe to Wealth Decoded for weekly breakdowns of exactly how money works in plain English so you can build more of it. See you in the next one.